let's do it. It'll turn out okay. And today, we're talking about is time traveling. Not real ones, of course. The fictional ones made by a DeLorean and later a train.
Yeah.
So, so when did you start? When did you first see the Back to the Future trilogies?
Uh, it was one summer when I was on vacation in Wildwood, New Jersey. They were playing a marathon of like the entire trilogy on Nick at Night. That was the first time I had ever seen Back to the Future in its entirety. Like when I was a kid, I remember I saw like the ending of the first movie, like when they're trying to get the lightning to strike and all that. But because I only had that one clip and no other reference, I thought it was a movie about weather. That was it.
I first I might have seen the original movie on TV or something, or maybe somebody rented it on VHS. But I saw the actual second movie at the theaters live when it was airing back in the late 80s. Because me and my friend David we played Back to the Future time travel on the recess. On the recess, we had to slide as a time machine. So yeah,
Yeah.
we time traveled a lot in our imagination. So, uh, so what's the deal? What's the deal with that DeLorean? Do you know?
I don't know if it's based on a real car or anything. I mean, I had to rewatch the first movie years later to kind of find it. Like, so the reason how Doc Brown was able to make it is because I think he like stole funding from like terrorists or something,
Oh,
and then the
oh yeah,
terrorists were mad that they got stiffed by him, so that's why they came and shot him. They chased after Marty. That's why Marty went back in time in the first place.
yeah. He needed he stole plutonium from terrorists because they wanted him to make a bomb. He used the power of time machine instead. I think they were Libyan terrorists, if I remember correctly. But yeah, they were too happy about that. They weren't too happy about that. So, so yeah, but we start off. He is he and his family are pretty much losers, at least in '80s standards. His dad,
Yeah.
his dad's no good. His mom's fat, I guess. His sister's unemployed, or was that his brother? I forget. But they're all like they're uncool in his. At least they're uncool in his opinion.
Yeah.
So, uh, so would you like to? If you had a time machine, would you go back in time to change anything?
Um, if I would go back in time, what time period would I go to?
Would you could change anything in time travel?
Could I change anything?
Would you? If your past, your family's
Maybe,
past?
maybe. Like, there's lots of things I feel like that I've done that I've regretted. I'd probably go back and stop myself from doing those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could change one thing about my past, it would be to do better in school.
Me, it would be to get myself out there more.
But yeah,
Like, because I don't know, like I just feel like I've been doing better with social interactions ever since I started getting more active on like Twitter and like a Discord server I'm a part of. But yeah, like during high school and college, though, like I'm just under the belief those were my only chances to have like friends in real life. And well, I didn't hop on the opportunity. Like, I mean, and it's funny because maybe high school wouldn't have mattered so much because I was like, all my family members were saying it's college where it's like you make your lifelong friends. Like high school, maybe not so much. Um, Nope, not really at college. The most I got are a couple of Facebook friends who like give me like a birthday message every year. Like,
Yeah,
and that's about it.
yeah.
And
Sorry.
like, I mean, what probably didn't help is that the major I was a part of, everybody was like a tight knit group of friends in my major, and like my generally my big problem is that I would always freeze up when asking people if they like wanted to hang or do anything like that. Like, or even just trying to have a conversation, I would freeze up. Not helping matters. I don't know if you remember this. There was Princess Bitch, who
Oh
was
yeah.
um who was everybody's best friend. So if I tried to talk to anybody in there, I would have had to talk to her too.
You had, if I remember correctly, you had some nice roommates and some not so nice roommates.
Yeah. I mean, because let's see, I had my roommate in freshman year. He was good, but then he disappeared off the face of the earth. Sophomore year, there was a guy who I was thought was friendly with me, but in hindsight, he really wasn't. Like, he just did not give a shit about me. Then, but another one of the guys in there, he he friended me on Facebook, but then I didn't hear from him from a couple of years until out of nowhere, when the war in Ukraine started, he messaged me offering condolences because he somehow remembered that Ukraine is part of my heritage. Like, which was honestly really surprising, but yeah.
Yeah. Some people remember
It
it.
was a positive thing though.
Some people remember stuff. Yeah, some people remember stuff that in their mind. But yeah.
So then junior year, that's when I roomed with the gay guys. There was one guy who was super nice, then the other two not so much. I mean, if you remember, I nicknamed one of them Angry Face Man for a reason. He had like a constant scowl on his face like 90% of the day.
Yeah. That when
Um
you used to go out to go when we hallway all the time to go live.
that was in senior year because I had no choice because honestly I didn't want to talk when there was somebody in the room because it just felt super weird. So I would try to like go to a place where I could be on my own, and that was super difficult. So like I don't know, like I just feel I don't know, I don't want to say it's full on anxiety, but generally I just felt weird like when I tried to talk to people. Maybe you could call it like shyness or something, but yeah, that's how it was. And then see, senior year, I actually like senior year is the closest I got to getting a couple of friends out of it. And even then, it was again only Facebook friends. Because senior year, easily, I had the best set. I mean, except for the one guy who ended up having a feud with another one, but yeah.
Yes, I went to community college. I didn't get a chance to make lots of college friends because we saw each other for like classes at a time, and hardly we were ever in the same classes together or room together. So,
Yeah.
and most of my high school friends, at least back then, were all assholes, and I didn't want to communicate with. Anyways, oh, but uh, on. So we have Marty, who's a rock and roller. You ever been
Yeah.
into music?
I used to play marching band. I don't play guitar or anything. I mean, my dad does. I think he plays bass. I don't know much about it though.
I kind of do. I think we're setting
Okay.
up a music studio in here. I probably told you that already.
And don't you have one friend who goes by the name Vendetta Records?
Yeah, he built a studio in my one of my spare bedrooms.
Mm.
But So, so why do you think? Why do you think you have to go fast for time travel to activate? In your opinion?
Well, it's how they say in the movie, the 1.21 gigawatts.
Did you know that apparently that's a typo, or either that was a typo or it was like a, I forget what that word is. They misspoke or something, or they ad libbed that. That's not even a real thing. It must be something else. I think. Look it up real fast. So, what's your favorite part about the first movie? I looked this up.
From the first movie, honestly, I'm not too sure. Like, uh, yeah, I can't really pick apart from the first movie. I mean, because I liked the movies, but I don't have like that strong of a connection with them. Like, I guess if I had to pick something from the first movie, it would have to be, if I'm being honest, I think the second movie had like a stronger impact on me than the first one
Oh
did.
yeah, the second one's my favorite movie too. But I
But
think
the first one, I guess just the overall plot of it, like just how he's weirded out by like all the 50s stuff, and then how his mom almost falls in love with him,
oh
which
yeah,
erased him from existence.
be like, yeah, that'd be weird. You're like having your mom like that. That's the weird part of the thing. Yeah, saving it and trying to save his dad from getting hit by a car. He almost, which was the thing that apparently got his
Yeah.
parents together because dad was a perv, and
Ew.
well,
But
yeah, he was like doing voyeurizing his mom through the binoculars in the trees. Fell out.
okay, well, see, that goes to show you that sometimes I don't remember some of the finer stuff from the movies, even though I've seen them a couple of times. But so,
But I
uh,
but I loved how they got their name, Calvin Klein, from his underwear. Like, oh, your name's Calvin Klein. That's the name on your underwear.
exactly like what happened with Buddy the Elf. Exactly, because freaking the diaper he was wearing said Little Buddy Diapers. But let's see. I guess like the end, like I told you, the end sequence, it made me think the movie was about weather at first. That was a nice sequence too, especially because it had to be very specific, so there was tension to it.
Oh yeah, the timing. Oh, and I and apparently he was talking. I liked how he was talking. He went to the cafe. It says he wanted a tab or something, or Pepsi free. Like, what's a pep? You have to pay for Pepsi here, pal.
A Pepsi free. Oh, is that what they call it? Was that what like a Diet Pepsi that exists in the 80s?
Yeah,
Because I
I
know
guess
about, because I don't, the only soda I was aware of that had free in the name was called Sierra Mist Free. And I even remember the commercial for it where the guy's like, "Oh, I've got a Mist Free," and he's like, and so it's like two guys. One guy's like, "Where'd you get that Mist?" I got it free because it's called Mist Free. It's like, it's not free, right? It's not actually free, right? It just means it's free as sugar. No, come on, I just got this free. Give me that. No, come on, get your own. They're free. They're not free.
I think what we call the zero nowadays.
Yeah, Coke Zero. I think it's called Pepsi Zero. It used to be called Pepsi Max. If I'm being honest, I preferred when it was called Pepsi Max. Oh, I'm going to give a little bonus for the podcast. The podcast gets to exclusively hear my achievement sound that plays in live streams sometimes, like when I'm with Mario 2 101 and Brasa 455. If this will play, ready? Sorry about that. All
Congrats
right.
on your achievement.
All right.
But
So, anyways,
yeah, so I like the part where he's talking to the future mayor who's black at the time in the 50s.
oh yeah, when he was working in the diner and like they kind of laughed it off because like segregation was still going on at the time.
Yeah, he says I'm gonna be the future mayor, and he's like one of those running 20-time mayor people, like not like now politics nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, 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 and oh, he 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 dressed. Oh, I remember him dressing up as a spaceman with the radiation suit. So he said, "I'm Darth Vader from Vulcan."
Oh, Darth Vader from Vulcan? Seriously? Okay.
It's to scare his dad, to make his dad, go out, try to go out with his mom. And then, of course, he invented rock and roll by
By
singing Johnny
playing
Be
rock and
Good.
roll at the thing.
And they did the Chuck Berry cameo, where apparently Chuck Berry copyrighted his music or stole his music,
Wow.
the father of rock and roll. But anyways, so they did this big setup. I remember this or not, to make it sound look like a hero. So he's gonna pretend to assault his mom, and George is gonna go come out, and rescue her, save her. But then Biff got in there for real. Really started attacking her. So when he actually went to hit him, it wasn't a setup. It was a real one, and he really was the hero.
Yeah.
So instead of falling in love because he got hit by a car, they fell in love because he saved her life,
Mm-hmm.
and he beat Biff. So, and apparently doing that set up a whole chain of events in the future where he was success. He wasn't Biff's punchy bag growing up. He was successful. And he was a car. He was like a car repair guy, and his mom's and a famous author. His mom's more richer. His brother and sister had real jobs and real relationships, and he. But the thing is, the thing about time travel is it changes all around you, but you don't remember any, but you have no idea what happened. You come back
Yeah.
to a new reality.
Let's see. So I know he does still make a lot of changes that stick in the future. Like, for example, when I think during like the beginning of the movie or like maybe at the end, like he's driving and then he crashes into one of the trees. And like originally the mall they were at the start of the movie is called the Twin Pines, but then when he goes back to the past, he breaks one of the trees. It becomes the Lone Pine Mall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he tried to warn Doc about being shot, but Doc was all about the
Maintaining the time. It's like he even wrote a note for him to read, and then Doc tried to rip it up, saying, "No, no, 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 no! I don't want to read this. I can't change the time." But then it turned out that later he did like grab the paper again. He read it, and then he put on a bulletproof vest, like when Marty made it back to when he got shot.
yeah.
Um,
So I guess was the happy ending.
yeah.
So he came home, found out everything changed, found out uh he has a Bigfoot truck now.
Oh yeah. And
So that was
doesn't his parents' lives improve too?
yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
And I guess Biff's life got incredibly worse.
His life was actually good at first, or was it not? Or was it just not that good and it just became worse?
I don't know if it was that good or not, but But I guess in comparison to his dad's new life, it was worse in comparison. I guess because
Yeah.
before his dad was like doing this work for him, like he did this, like in high school, he used to do his homework for him. So now he's
Yeah.
doing his reports for him. But now, I guess his dad's a famous author, and Biff's a car repair guy.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then Doc returns.
And then says that they need to go back to the future, and that goes to the second movie.
He says, I've come to the future. Like, what happened? Are we assholes? No, it's your kids. Something's got to be done about your kids. Then they said the famous line. First,
Which
like,
is,
the line is, remember the line?
I mean, I do know he drops the title when Doc comes up and he says, "Come on, Marty, we gotta go." And then Marty's like, "Go where? Back to the future."
No, I still say it says back up. We don't have enough roads to get to 88 roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
All right. I think at the start of the second movie, going into that, like when they come in, it's like in the middle of a thunderstorm. They're like flying. I think it is.
Yeah.
And they're just flying like up in the clouds as like there's thunder and all that.
Yeah. Which brings us to they went to the future, which to us now is the past. Can you believe that?
Yeah, like I still remember when it was the real 2015, and they're like, "Oh, where's the self-tying shoelaces? Where's the hoverboards? Not the real life hoverboards we got, like ones that are in the movie."
Yeah, where's our cars?
To go a little off subject, but also kind of on subject, regarding the Power Rangers series, we had a very similar situation is about to happen.
Oh, in the SPD one?
Yeah, SPD, because SPD aired in 2005. That took place 20 years in the future, which puts SPD in 2025. Well, we're only a couple years away from the real 2025, and I mean, obviously the technology is not going to be like how it was there, but in universe, for many years in the series itself, they were kind of not addressing like any of the stuff that's building up to SPD. Like there's no aliens living on Earth or anything.
I thought they'd be doing that. I thought they would do that in a Megaverse invasion thing, but no, they didn't.
Even the legendary battle, of course not, because all they cared about was selling toys to 5-year-olds.
Yeah,
but yeah, so oh yeah, and not to mention there was at the time that Megaforce was being made, they had a massive bias towards the Disney seasons, which was unfair looking back. Like in the legendary battle, like when they get like all the returning actors, none of them came from the Disney seasons. There was one, the Red Ranger from Jungle Fury, but that's only because he helped direct the episode. And he wasn't even in like the last episode. So yeah, there was just a massive bias towards the Disney seasons. But anyways, getting back to the thing. So
yeah,
finally, so absolutely nothing was building up to like the future established by SPD. In fact, then you have Beast Morphers having like SPD like weapons and equipment on hand, like implying they went to the future to bring them back. And it got to a point where people were starting to assume they were going to retcon SPD to be in its own universe, like what they did to RPM and Dino Charge. But now we've seen promotional shots of the Mighty Morphin reunion special that's going to be on Netflix in a few months.
Okay.
And then they have Adam and Aisha wearing these fancy futuristic uniforms that say SPA on them. So the implication is that it turns out Adam and Aisha may be in charge of a precursor organization to SPD.
Space Control Alpha.
Basically, yeah. So it looks like because the more recent like Hasbro seasons have been trying to like tie the lore together and all that. They've been like heavy on like the references to early seasons. So maybe they're planning like how to connect to it.
Yeah, I haven't really watched that much lately because like, again, Megaforce.
I mean,
The
I haven't watched it much. I haven't watched the episodes themselves either, but I read up on what they're about.
yeah.
Like the most recent season, Dino Fury brought back Lord Zed. And they don't beat him or anything. He gets away. And the implications that the season they're working on now, they're actually going out to space to fight him. Like they're doing like a very in space kind of thing.
Well, I might
So,
get
but
get him
yeah.
again because Megaforce is really threw me off of Power Rangers again.
Yeah, Megaforce was not a good season, but anyways, that's just a connection. So back to the future with the 2015 that was not.
Yeah, they go the future.
Yeah.
Oh, the other line where he's doing the shooting game, teaching the kids how to do the game. He's like, you have to use your hands. That's like a baby's game.
Oh, I also remember when he stands in front of the movie theater and they're playing Jaws 19.
Oh yeah.
Like it was because Jaws the Revenge was like brand new at the time. It was like a joke that they were just going to keep making shittier and shittier Jaws movies. So then the cheap 80s CGI holographic shark comes out and eats Marty, so to speak. So Marty ducks, he stands back up. The shark still looks fake.
And we still have and we still have that. We still have, you think at least that technology would be here by now, but we don't have that kind of. Do we have those kind of holograms nowadays?
In select places, maybe, but it's not commonplace like the movies seem to imply. But yeah, like, and it's funny that Universal was poking fun at their own like franchise they were pushing, like the Jaws movies. It's funny because while Jaws the Revenge was brand new at the time, they have not made any Jaws movies since. So we didn't even get a Jaws 5. So how'd they work their way all the way to 19?
Revenge, that was 4, right? The one they went to the
Yeah, the
Bahamas.
Revenge was 4.
Yeah. Where apparently the shark had a
where the
shark
shark
had like
was self-aware and it knew to follow them all the way across the ocean.
Oh, and then they had a battling the Future Cafe or the '80s Cafe. They had a computerized Max Headroom and a computerized Ronald Reagan fighting each other.
Oh yeah,
for like a for this drink. But yeah. Then we went. Oh, we missed the one. Then we had the hoverboard chase. Was kind of like a repeat of the chase in the past, where his car got hit by the manure.
Oh yeah, the hoverboard chase at the end of the movie when he goes back to the 50s. Like I kind of like the reason why I like the second movie the best was just because of how much of the time travel there is. Like he goes to the future, he goes to the present, he goes back to the 50s, like an alternate present day. And like I just kind of liked how it all tied together.
But yeah, his wife, he tries to buy an almanac, so he can rich in the past.
Yeah, because what happened? Like, why did Marty get the almanac in the first place? I forget.
He wanted to make a few bets when he returned to 18.
Oh, so he wanted to take it for himself so he could win the bets and all that.
Yeah.
Because when he takes it back with him, Biff gets Biff and I think Biff from the future gets a hold of it, and then he follows Marty back to the 50s and gives it to the Biff from the 50s, and then Biff from the 50s uses it to get rich by the 80s.
Yeah, well, no, kind of got it right. Doc finds it, and he gets mad, says, I did not invent the time machine to go to do gambling. I invented a time machine to travel through time. And he threw the almanac in the trash, in the thing. Old Biff is watching. Old Biff fall in a cab. Old Biff follows them to the gatehouse where the police had taken what's her name? Jennifer, his girlfriend, because they thought it was the old Jennifer. Like we were like, that's a good facelift. So she's in the house where Marty gets fired by his boss, and the big technology of printing out the thing, you're fired. With that big, I think it was like a I think it was still was a dot matrix printer or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so, oh, you remember those pizzas they had?
I
Dehydrated
do
pizzas?
not, but what were they like?
They were like that small, and then they put them in the dehydrator or rehydrator, and then they became full-size pizzas.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, while they're distracted getting her, Biff took the time machine back to the 50s and then came back. Well, in those 5 minutes, I guess, or 2 minutes before they were gone, because time travel, has no time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they came back. They go back, and they go back to 85, but it's a little different. Oh, there was one thing I talked before, but there was one thing the movie did get right.
Yeah.
You just don't, yeah.
I do not. What was it they got right?
The Cubs in the World Series.
Oh yeah, they won the World Series. Okay.
They were off by Euro. It was 2016. They were in the playoffs, and they made the playoffs in 2015, and they almost made it. But 2016 they actually won, breaking some kind of curse.
Imagine freaking they won only because they wanted the Back to the Future thing to be true.
People have to pay. I think that there have to be a lot of payments for that to happen. Like, and a lot of people, from everyone, all the people were like, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's throw the game for real."
Ah, so it involved a lot of bribery then. Okay.
Probably, yeah, and like people playing that on purpose.
Or maybe people just really like the movie. I don't know.
True, but yeah. Or I guess maybe the Cubs were just that good that season. Like, yeah, we gotta do this. We gotta make this thing work, and they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they come back to 1985, but unlike his time traveling from before, his life's a lot worse before. Both his brother and sister are in jail. His dad's dead, and his mom is Biff's sex toy, pretty much.
Didn't Biff have like multiple wives?
Yeah,
in a way. Yeah.
And I think
that's typical.
And I think he only wanted her because she was the high school sweetheart that got away.
Mm-hmm.
Like a trophy wife, I guess.
Yeah.
What would you do if you thought you woke up and your worst enemy in the world had all the power and money and controlled your town?
I'd probably be dead in the water, probably. I don't have the guts to stand up to people, unfortunately.
Would he hit you that much to track you down, or would he not care about you?
Probably would not care, unless I made a fuss about it, actually.
You don't think you would?
Probably not.
Yes, like he probably made some illegal gambling earlier on, bets here and there, but even back then, I think even nowadays you can't bet. You can't do anything betting until you're 21. I'm 18.
Yeah, I think 21 is the limit. Maybe 18 at the lowest. I'm thinking it is 21.
Yeah. And when you win when you win everything of all it's Almanac doesn't quit until the 2000s. So he started betting in like maybe in the early, like in the late 50s when he came 21. He was like 8. I think he was 18 or 17 during the movie time. So he's probably 21 at the end of the early end of the 50s. So that's 25.
Weren't they in senior year in 55?
Yeah, but so 18, so 18, but maybe
so
58.
like by like 58, 59.
But yeah, so 60, 70, so that's at least 25 years of legal gambling he's done by 85, and he still has 15 more years to go till the almanac runs out.
Yeah.
And every sporting event, and that's even if you bet the minimum each time, but if you keep on betting your whole thing every time, like I won $100, bet all that, I won $1 million. Okay, bet all that, I won $1 billion. You know?
Yeah.
When you, so yeah, it's like, so his dad shot. Doc's crazy. Doc became
He's put in a mental asylum, right?
yeah. So he wants to confront. He goes to confront Biff, and apparently old Biff had warned young Biff about this happening. He says someday an old crazy man or a teenager will come looking for this, asking about this book. When that comes, use this and shoot him.
Freaking a revolt. Oh yeah, and that also leads how Marty gets away from that because when Marty makes a run for it, he's like, oh that's cool, but what the hell is that? And then Biff falls for it, and then he runs.
Oh yeah. Then this line says they never found the bullet, never matched the gun to the bullet that killed your old man. This was this gun right here. And then he jumps off the building, and Biff thinks he's dead, like whatever, committed suicide. But then the DeLorean came up,
DeLorean, yeah,
and smacked him in the face. Which when then they go back to 55, which is when they do the, I guess, incredible CGI, not CGI, lots of green screen. I'm guessing because
yeah,
having both Martys on the screen, both Martys and both Docs at the same time. Which in the second movie they did mention your weather experiment thing.
Yeah,
because he's like, because old like 55 Doc asks 80s Doc to give him a wrench or whatever, or a tool, and he asks for the wrong one, and 80s Doc's like, it's the right tool.
Yeah.
He's like, weather experiment? Yeah, how'd you know? Good guess. But yeah, they have to get the almanac back from Biff. Well,
in the 50s, like, oh, I remember there was this one time. Oh, right, when Biff gets the freaking almanac confiscated by him by like the principal or like one of the school employees, and then Marty sneaks into the office to get it, and like it's inside his desk. Marty reaches in the desk to grab it, and then the guy comes in and closes the desk on him, and Marty has to like keep his mouth shut to avoid screaming in pain.
He gets the.
Ultimately the guy grabs the almanac, but then just throws it in the trash. And Marty thinks he's gonna walk out with it, but then he just throws it in the trash. So he grabs it, but then he loses it again.
Oh, because it was just a dust jacket, and inside the almanac was a Playboy.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Because I think Biff switch it out specifically to avoid that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a guest.
Hi, Brandon. If you're still watching this.
But yeah, so he tries to get the almanac back, chases the car. He saves himself. His guy, Biff. God, I almost forgot his name for a second. Biff's cronies chased the. You got the almanac. Biff's cronies chased them, but they thought. But he went up to the thing, but they thought the Marty playing the guitar from in the first movie was the guy they were chasing. So they're like, "How did he chase close so fast?" So You can join us if you want to, but
I think he's just coming home from work, so I don't think he can.
okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, they chase him. They try to hurt him, but future Marty dropped sandbags on them thing. But Biff, when they were he was getting out to escape. He got hit in the face by the door by himself and his parents, knocking him out. Biff found him, took the almanac back. Oh yeah, he grabbed the almanac, the real almanac, when his dad hit him. When his dad hit Biff in the first
Oh
movie.
yeah, when he punched him out. Oh, and curiously, I think his dad was not. Oh, his dad. They couldn't film like any new footage with him because the actor who played him in the first movie did not want to come back or something. So they had to recycle archive footage with him, and I guess also get like alt footage with like a double where you can't see his face. Like I don't know what happened on that front, but yeah.
But yeah, oh, that was just. But anyways, like they chase him down, and he's like, "Doc, can't you go help me get the thing?" He's like, "No, that's a steel, like a." That's a '55 Mustang, whatever car it was. That's like solid steel. It would rip through this DeLorean like messing on paper. So I guess that meant the DeLorean was like very, very weak metal or plastic, and unlike the car, it's like very, very. Maybe fiberglass. I don't know what it was made of, but yeah, it's like that '50s car was.
Well, you know, Brandon wants to join.
What?
But you got to give him a minute because
Okay.
I'll give him the invite link. I just have to. I'm assuming the invite link you sent me will be good for him, right?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. He has a green screen too now. Cool. So do I. But unfortunately, my green screen doesn't work that well. My computer can't handle. My computer can't handle the green screen effects that well.
I mean, his computer can handle green screen fine. Adam MarioTube 101 has one, and then you see me. I don't have one. Frankly, I don't see a reason to get one, but yeah.
I just want to become a little more professional.
Well, yeah, definitely, because you work hard on this.
And then he goes, he gets the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he grabs the tight thing and he goes up there and he crashes into the manure truck again.
Oh yeah.
Which he burns the almanac, which changes the future back to the way it was, where his dad gets where his dad's alive. Instead of docking a mental institution, he gets an award.
Yeah.
Everything is all happy and thing, and then lightning strikes the DeLorean
out of nowhere, and Doc gets transported away.
Yeah. And he's like, he's staying there, and then here comes I think it was the U.S. Postal Service or UPS or
some kind of postal service where so Doc was sent back to the 1800s, and he wrote a letter specifically to go to Marty in 1955, and he told him where he is. I don't know if it was here where he said it or if he waits until the third movie to say it, but Doc actually finds that he likes it in the 1800s and he wants to stay. So I might be misremembering, but in that letter, he was basically just telling Marty, "Don't worry, I'm okay. You don't need to worry about me." But Marty still wants to go back for him. He wants to go and get him.
Well, I think at first he says fine. He told him where the DeLorean was, where it was hidden, but he still needed Doc's help. So he.
So what happens is he needed Doc's help to get the DeLorean, But what happened is, so we see the ending of the first movie where Doc is sending like Marty from like the first movie like back to the 80s, and then so Doc is like happy celebrating, but then Marty from the second movie runs up behind him, and he asks for help, and then Doc passes out from the shock. It's like, why'd you come back? You're supposed to be in the 80s.
But he says, Doc, like, no, what are you doing here? I just you Back to the Future. He says, yes, I know, Doc, but I'm back. I'm back from the future.
Great Scott! And then he falls and he passes out. Right.
Yep. And then, as they're saying to be continued, it says to be concluded.
And in a rare display for like more recent movies, they play a full trailer for like the third movie, like a full preview.
You know what that is, don't you?
Huh?
You know what that was?
It was at the very end of the movie.
I know, but you know why they had all those scenes?
Because I think they were making the movies like back to back.
Yeah.
And the third movie is coming out like only like a year later.
But yeah, so yeah, it's like if they taped all the Avengers movies together, like, and then spaced them out like in every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like yeah, that fits. So third movie, they start to like the first movie. They started out with the end of the second movie thing.
Yeah, what happens in the third movie is that so Doc wakes up, and then he helps Marty figure out the DeLorean, and then Marty decides to travel back to the 1800s to go look for the Doc that was sent back there.
Oh yeah, that they when they went to the mine thing, they got the thing out, and while they're looking there, he finds Doc's grave.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that's why he wants to go back, to save Doc from being dead.
Yeah. And this time this Doc is all about, he doesn't care about changing the past. He's like, okay, fine, I'll help you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
then from here, unfortunately, the third movie is the one I know the least about, because the third movie is then again, the third movie is generally considered the weakest of the three by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just something about the Wild West setting just wasn't as captivating as like the first two.
I can fill you in the blanks. I remember bits and pieces of it. Well,
I mean, I know one thing Marty does. The fake name he gives is Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, this movie says, if I go 55 and 88, I'll hit the movie screen, or hit that movie screen, or the paintings. You're like Marty, you're thanks for fourth dimensionally again. You hit 88, all those fake cowboy and Indians won't be there. It'll be an open field. He goes, he hits
and
88.
It's a real set of like cowboys and Native Americans.
Yeah, so which an arrow or bullet hits the gas tank, which causes the fuel to go out.
Yep, and there's no way to get fuel in the 1800s.
There probably was
a time where trains barely existed. Like, they were like brand new at the time.
Yeah, I think by that time, gasoline was just starting to be a thing.
Yeah,
it was for the very, very rich people.
If anything, I will say the mid to late 1800s is definitely a fascinating period to look at, just to know when like modern technologies were like being made.
Yeah. Young people had cars back then were the very rich. I think it was.
Well, this was like in the 1860s. Cars would not have existed by then. Like, I think by like the 1890s, maybe. But yeah.
I think they're. Yeah, I think it was like pretty much experimental, and
it was very experimental. In fact, the earliest cars were called horseless carriages.
Yeah, and like I said, it wasn't until Henry Ford invented did the assembly line that cars were cheap enough to buy for people
Yeah,
like us.
yeah, the assembly line, like I would say cars were not really commonplace until the 1920s. And the reason why driver's licenses were invented was because too many people were crashing them.
Yeah, which brings up I think I saw one time after it says in Europe the car was made around the Europe. In Europe, the car was invented to travel for the cities, but in America, the city was made for the cars.
Wow.
Because in Europe, all the major cities are already built, so they had to make the car fit their roads and stuff and travel from city to city. So, but in America, there's all the open land. Nothing was there yet, so they built all the highways and like let's put cities here, and then the cities were built around the cars.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why here in America, at not the subway, the suburban area is all weird and messed up.
Yeah.
Where you need a car to go anywhere. I guess where you live, you can take the train. I guess, but
Kind of. Like, I used to take the train all the time. In fact, I don't think I had, like, in the podcast, and after I came back, I did finally get my driver's license.
oh.
One of the only good things that happened in the year of COVID. It's 2020.
Yeah, could you even go anywhere with your? I mean, you had
Yeah. I mean, I was in school for a little bit for a couple of years, and then it was cut short because of COVID. And like, if anything, it kind of did work out for the better, because I would have had to juggle all that with doing my like, I got my learner's permit back right before COVID hit. And all that extra time stuck at home gave me a chance to practice driving. I would just like drive around town and all that. And then October of that year, that's when I went for the test, and thankfully I passed the first time.
It's funny you mentioned COVID because the winter before it happened, McDonald's was rebuilding the lobby, right?
Yeah.
So we had to use the bathroom outside, and these at least that they were lighted and heated outhouses.
Yeah.
They're plugged up and they'd heat and lights. But we had to use the bathroom. We had to go outside. We had to grab our jackets, our coats, and go outside and use the bathroom because the bathroom was being remade. And sometimes the light didn't work on it, or the heat didn't. Sometimes the heat was off. So, but we still had to use the bathroom. Hopefully the heat worked. The light didn't work, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
We do it. Finally, it's rebuilt. They open it up for 2 weeks. It's open up for like a week or two, and then it's shut down. All that work for 5 months of rebuilding the work, and the lobby's closed down for 8 months.
Of course. I remember when I took my driving test, I had to have the windows, because I went to a different place to take my driving test compared to like 5 years before that. Because originally I went to like a city DMV, which was not a good place to go to. Too many cars, too many confusing roads where the instructors would use like loopholes to fail you. So instead, I went to a DMV that was farther away, but it was like out in the country, like much easier roads. But because of COVID, look who's here. But because of COVID, I had to have the windows rolled down. And keep in mind, the big road I had to drive on was like a 40-mile-an-hour road. So like wind was blowing on my face. But the test was easy. I mean, I just had to drive on that road, go on a few back roads filled with stop signs, go the right way in a cul-de-sac, and then that was it. Backwards drive. But yeah, so where were we in Back to the Future 3?
Well, he got to 85, got shot by an arrow, blew up the gas tank, but he couldn't
Oh
drive
yeah,
anymore.
we were talking about cars, like history of cars, like talking about how he obviously wasn't gonna be able to get fuel for the DeLorean.
And so he runs into his uh he runs into he runs into his ancestor, the first Marty, and his great grandfather pees on him or something. Just the
Yeah.
baby. Ever. And he goes to town and he meets Mad Mad. He meets Russell. He meets Mad Tanner.
Mad Tannen.
Mad Dog Tanner. And
Well, Tannen, I think, is the name.
yeah, and apparently his former principal, his great grandfather or his grandfather, maybe it was his dad. I don't know how old the principal was, but he's the sheriff of the town.
Yeah.
So, hey, Brandon, you ever watch Back to the Future? You remember anything of that? If you can hear us.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a QR code on his screen.
Oh, that's.
Oh, hi, Alma. That's my friend Alma from the Dark Lord Shadow Discord.
I. Oh, Alma, if you know anything about Back to the Future, say so in chat. We can talk about it.
Yeah, Alma, if you know anything about Back to the Future, do you know about the Telltale game or any of the movies?
So he goes there and he runs into the Mad Dog Tanner, who tried to hang him via clock tower, but he gets shot down by Doc. Apparently, it was a bad horseshoe or whatever that he threw in with broke a whiskey bottle. He shot the horse, which is why Biff shot him in the past.
Oh yeah. Toonstruck. I almost referencing like an old PC game looks like that had Christopher Lloyd in it.
Probably not the '80s game that sucked.
Yeah, it was like a game from '96. Yeah, Alma, talk about Christopher Lloyd's role in that.
But yeah, you find out. Anyways, Doc rescues Clara, and from going down the cliff, and that's when Marty realizes, oh yeah, in the past we love this Clayton Ravine because that's when the teacher fell in, and that's when Doc knew he changed the past, so he decided to destroy the time machine. Because, but they try pulling the thing of horses, but that's not that fast enough, and then they decide to push the train with special logs. Oh, he invented this giant ice cube maker or refrigerator.
Yeah.
Through the pipe and stuff. So he falls in love with the teacher. Doc does.
Yeah.
But he tries to say that he is going to Back to the Future to leave her, and she thinks he's crazy, so she slaps him and runs away. He gets upset and tries to get drunk, but he's a terrible drunk. He's a terrible drunk. He's a lightweight, and he barely drunk anything, and he passes out. And he's like, when Marty goes to go, he says, "How many has he had? He had one."
Yeah.
You ever drink anything like that? You a drinker?
No, I don't drink. All my friends could tell you that. I do not drink.
I barely drink myself, but
I mean, the most I'll do is I'll put a little bit of like Malibu, that's a type of rum, into a soda. That's the most I do. I've affectionately given it the nickname Mr. Alcohol, and Brandon's also taken a liking to it, but I'm pretty sure he puts more in than I do.
Yeah, the most I've ever drank is probably two at the most, and like a daiquiri or a margarita.
Yeah, I don't
I've
like
never drunk
margaritas.
straight. I never drunk straight whiskey or rum or anything like that. I want
Alma has a champagne shot at New Year. I can't take champagne either. Like, yeah. And Alma was also asking earlier. I mean, maybe we'll get to it when we get to it. Maybe finish the Back to the Future 3 first. But Alma wants to know your thoughts on the point and click game. I'm assuming the Telltale one.
maybe, but
Okay.
okay. So we're talking about the train. Then they rob They go to the train, and they're like, then they go. They get to the train. I guess Brennan had to leave, or his connection died. But he goes to the thing
Yeah,
train.
Brandon's computer froze.
I figured, and
Yeah.
is this a stick up? No, it's a science experiment.
Wow.
They detach the cab. They start pushing it. Then uh, Claire comes up and and they're in the car, but then Claire comes like or rings the bell, honks the horn, and it's like, come back and rescue her. So he goes back. They get caught in the train. The thing explodes. So Marty puts his board down. He goes. The board falls down. Doc catches the board. He catches Clara. They ride off, and then the train gets pushed. The car gets pushed 88. The train falls off. The train falls off the ledge, and Clayton Ravine is now called Clint Eastwood Ravine
The Clint Eastwood ravine.
because Clint Eastwood fell and but yeah, so he goes there. He, he gets out of the car, and then another train comes down and smashes DeLorean into pieces. It's all dead. So
Yeah.
he goes, wakes up Jennifer.
Yeah. The DeLorean gets smashed to pieces by the train, right?
Yeah. So
But then
what's
all of a
that?
sudden, after that, another train shows up on the tracks using the time travel, and Doc comes in with Clara and his two sons, right?
Yeah, not yet. First of all, he goes gets his yeah, he goes to get to Jennifer. They're driving off. Then the thing they're talking about in the future happens. The guy challenges Marty to a race, calls him chicken, but this time instead of falling for it, because that's the whole point of all three movies. Every time someone called Marty chicken, he like got mad and went.
Yeah, almost. Like, we're kind of just summarizing the movies and like discussing them a little bit.
And that was like a whole story point for thing, people calling him chicken. But finally, he didn't do it, and then where he would have gone, he would have hit like a Rolls Royce or something like that, and and that was apparently hurt his hand. Was made not play the guitar. He'd worked that job, and that year fired text from the future got erased because he never hurt his hand, so he never had that job that he got fired from
Yeah.
because his whole future is different now. So then they travel. Then they go to the train yard, the thing, the see the DeLorean, and that's when the train comes. They see the go clock. Apparently, they timed it so that the things went down. The thing came, and it was two kids, Jules and Vern from their favorite book from the
Yeah.
80s.
Real quick, is there a way to like play around the settings on here? Because Brandon tells me he's selecting all his microphones and it's not doing anything. Like, is there like some kind of setting?
Uh, huh, maybe should be
Yeah.
able to. It should be able to talk. I think.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's up. You said you were trying to use an OBS virtual webcam. Do you think OBS is interfering? maybe don't worry about your green screen. Like, just let it be. Like, let it be plain, like how Vandelia's is. Oh, he did stop OBS.
Yeah, I can't use
Maybe
OBS.
drop out and drop back in.
But,
because I'm wondering if OBS interfering is doing something. Yeah, I hate to interrupt the thing, but it's just like, yeah. Like, if he's going to come on for, like, later episodes, then it's like, he's got to figure this out.
So, yeah, fast. So, yeah, so...
Yeah, go on.
They
Yeah.
go, now we're at the anime, the cartoon series.
Yeah,
Which takes place after the second movie, because it's mainly about his kid, Doc's
it's
kid, and
mainly
Marty.
about the kids, yeah. Like, so the animated series lasted for 2 seasons, and, like, for whatever reason, Doc and his family moved back to the 80s with Marty. And basically, from what little I've seen of the series, every episode is basically just them traveling to a new time period. Like, getting involved in some kind of shenanigans. Like, I know the first episode has, like, the brothers getting into a fight with each other, and then they end up traveling back to the Civil War, and they end up on opposite sides of the war.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. And I like the part where apparently the car can fly into the train, the park, and the train takes off. But the movie, the series was at the end of each episode, Doc Brown did the science experiment with his assistant. He had an assistant. You knew who that assistant was?
Yeah, that assistant was Bill Nye.
Yeah.
Bill Nye. Before he had his Bill Nye the Science Guy show.
I guess that's where we gotta start.
Now, it should be noted, Christopher Lloyd did come back to play Doc Brown, only in the live-action parts. Yeah, he was trying Mozilla. I'm going to tell him.
Yeah, I'm using Google Chrome.
Yeah, so
you can always try yourself.
But no, in the animated parts, Doc Brown's played by a voice actor, not Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, so if you need to, you can always try your cell phone. That works for some people.
Yeah, that's enough. There is that, but with Brandon. But yeah, I haven't seen too much of the animated series. I know there's not that many episodes. In fact, hang on. Let me see if I have it in immediate access. Because there is a very particular set I have that has the animated series.
Yeah, I haven't seen the animated series since the 90s.
Yeah, it was from the 90s. You have to give me a minute. Maybe give Brandon some time to figure out. I hope I can find it.
And almost another thing. Here's the games that I recorded.
I think I found it. Yeah, so I mean, there's not too much to say about the animated series. I do remember. Oh, 2 little trivia facts. Well, no, just one. One episode that I have not seen yet, it would be one episode where I think it was Vern, the one who, like, the blonde one who wore, like, who wore the hats all the time. He travels back to the 1800s when Clara was pregnant with him. So it leads to an interesting plot where basically he has to help her deliver himself.
That'll be a little thing.
Yeah, there's an episode that has that as the plot. So, and what happened, then see, also, Jules, the older brother, I think, is voiced by a young Josh Keaton. if you don't know who Josh Keaton is, he's a well-known voice actor. He voiced Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man. And then for other people who might be watching, he was also the voice of the younger Ocelot from MGS3. He's like all over the place, but yeah.
Yeah, the name does sound familiar. If I can't like, was he anything else? The name sounds awfully familiar.
Well, like I said, he was Spider-Man. I mean, he was also. Oh, look
Can
who's
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we can't hear you right.
I've confirmed Firefox doesn't like this.
Yeah.
That's really dumb.
All right. Well, Brian,
Hey,
if you want to talk for a minute, because I was going to pull out what I was going to pull out.
Well,
did you watch the movie?
irritating.
You talk about the movies or anything?
I have really seen like the first movie probably a long time ago. I remember bits from it, but probably need to rewatch it. I will say that the DeLorean is honestly one of my favorite car designs of all time, and the car community knows this because the Eurobeaters have been using that car's image for fucking years and years now. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that the door
yeah.
opening.
Oh, absolutely. I think the door opening is really interesting. I also think it's really interesting how different versions of the cars have different ways that the doors would be opened. Because, like, the strap is located in a different spot on the version 1 of the car and version 2.
So you have the videos.
Oh, yeah. This here is my Blu-ray set. Yeah, Alma, this is my friend Brandon, aka Brosser455. You've talked with him on Twitter a little bit, or better yet, he's talked with you. Yeah, Alma's in the chat, Brandon.
So I see you guys.
Chat with you.
I see you got a green screen too now, like I did.
Yes, yeah. I picked up a green screen because, well, I wanted to start using my webcam in my videos again, and I figured the best way to do that would to be just get a green screen and overlay myself on top of my gameplay like most other streamers do.
Yeah.
Which I guess has brought back a little bit of motivation to stream, honestly, but I digress.
I mean, I don't have that.
It was like $60. I had to buy it because GameStop wanted to get rid of it. It was on clearance for months, apparently.
Alma, what's infamous for being horrid? But anyways, while Alma catches up, this here is my Blu-ray set of the Back to the Future. It's called The Complete Adventures. I don't know if they make this anymore because the only set I've noticed is just called Back to the Future Trilogy. That only includes the movies. But yeah, if you look at the back of the box, it's got, the Blu-ray? It was fine for me. I don't know. Like, I don't know if this release is bad, but I mean, at the same time, it did come with a digital copy, so I may have used the digital. I may have watched the digital instead of the discs. But yeah, so it's got the 3 movies. It has the whole animated series, and then it also has like a bonus disc, and it has a collectible book, which is
wow. That's a good set of things to have with that box set.
When you buy that, you go all out, don't you? Like I've been talking about the Spider-Man book that you built. This was
not that expensive, actually. It was like $20, and I got it just to get the animated series included too. Like it's got like, I've actually never looked at this book. I saw that.
I've never seen this book. Yeah, I see that now, Nick.
Yeah, 7-11. All right, there's more appropriate stuff here. I don't know why the fuck Back to the Future had that, but okay. Like, okay, so we got the lightning strike, the famous one. I swear to fucking God. Okay. All right, so we got the guitar scene from the first movie. The 25th anniversary Blu-ray. I don't think this was for the 25th anniversary. I think this is for the 30th anniversary.
At least they packed in a lot of stuff with that box set. They
Yeah,
didn't
like,
expect
I
them to
mean,
include an
just flipping
animated
through
series
these
with a movie
quickly.
box set. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Okay, so put this away. Pack it away for good. Oh, actually, yeah, that might be why it's better, Alma. And then the movies themselves are like stored like in this book like casing. Like you got the first movie, then there's the second, then there's the third. Now only the movies are on Blu-ray. Like the animated series is on DVD. And now they did make like a separate box set for the animated series, but I figured get it all in one place.
Might as well if they made it all in one place.
Yeah, so then right here, I think is the bonus disc for the movies. Wait, what? Oh, that's just a still from the animated series. Okay. And then here's disc 1 of the animated series. Here's disc 2, disc 3, and then disc 4. Oh, frick!
And there goes this.
What fell out? What fell out? Here it is. I found
Something
it.
fall out.
I got it. It is the digital copy, so I need to put it back in because obviously the digital copy don't work no more. But it's nice to have it in there. But yeah, the animated series I'd say is decent. Like I wouldn't say it's like anything great, but I mean,
I guess it was good for I guess it was good for early '90s cartoons,
yeah.
but I don't think it would stand up nowadays.
I mean, especially since the Telltale game rendered it non-canon.
Yeah, which reminds me of the
speaking of which, would you like to go into the Telltale game and like talk about it? Like,
Yeah, but first I gotta talk about. First of all, I gotta talk about the game I got. The game I used to play for my Nintendo, which I can never beat, the NES Back to the Future game.
You had
Yep.
the NES game?
Wow.
Yes, I
Wow.
did. Where
We
you
all know
walk,
how that game is. The angry video game nerd treated us to that.
where you walk, see the back of Marty, walk through glass things, bowling balls, eat clocks.
Yeah.
He's like,
And walk upwards for some reason.
yeah, I never got past the first screen, or first level. But yeah, sucked. But yeah, the Telltale games, where apparently Marty went back to the 30s to see a teenage Doc and stop a bootlegger.
All right. So with the Telltale game, but going to the old games, I mean, AVGN quickly found out that Back to the Future 3 on the Genesis is actually even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't get past the first stage, and there's 4 stages in the game, so to compensate, they make them as freakishly brutal as possible. Particularly the first stage.
Yeah, and then claim its replay value.
Yeah. But freaking, so when it comes to the Telltale game, for one thing, they got Christopher Lloyd back to play Doc, but then they didn't get Marty's actor back because he was unavailable, but then he did come back like for the final episode, but in a certain way. But other than that, he was played by a different voice actor. But yeah, so I've only played episode 1 of the Telltale game, and I didn't even finish it. Yeah, so all I know is that there's a puzzle at the start where you're trying to get like this blueprint or like a map or something. It gets stuck in like this diorama that's like Biff wants to buy like in a garage sale, and like you have to like do a puzzle to get it away from him.
Yeah, they're selling off Doc's thing because he's been missing for like months at this point.
Well, that's because he's in the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
Because the Telltale game's a sequel to the third movie.
Apparently, Doc had gone back to the 30s find something, and so Marty falls back to the 30s, where he like apparently it was during the time of Prohibition, and the speakeasy burnt down, and Doc's a teenager. His dad's like a judge, and he's trying to do like a little science experiment. Which, if you do it right, you get an achievement, which I failed miserably at.
Oh wow!
So they stop the thing. Doc falls in love with the girl that burnt down the speakeasy. So when he goes back to the 85, or maybe at the time, at this point, 86, the town's like a utopia. Not utopia. What's it called? Maybe it's utopia, where you everything's all peaceful, but the law is strict as hell. What's that word called?
Wow.
But yeah, and Doc is the mayor of town. Doc inherits the mayor of town, and like the town's like ruled by an iron fist. No rock and roll, no nothing, no alcohol. It's like straight utopia. Where like the '84 movie, where if you get out of line, they re-educate you. So they go back to the 30s again to break them up, which causes her to go crazy and travel back to the 1980s again. I mean the 1880s, where she burns down the first speakeasy, which burns down the entire Hill Valley, so it never existed.
Yeah.
Where in the 30s, the Marty was a baby in the third movie, makes an appearance as an older man, which I think is where they have the Michael J. Fox cameo from.
Yeah, as like a alternate Marty.
Yeah, from the past. So.
Yeah. Because I mean, after his actor came down with Parkinson's disease, he had to like turn to voice acting for a while because he couldn't really do physical acting anymore.
So they go back to the 1800s, and you have to stop both Biff and the crazy lady at the same time by dropping a big puzzle with bowling balls and sacks of flour. Either they can fall at the same time, because if one gets hit and not the other one, then you lose. So.
Yeah,
and that was a crazy thing. We just set up everything exactly right. I cheated. I used the walkthrough, so I'm a dirty cheater.
Nah, nothing wrong.
Some games are so fucking cryptic. I feel like walkthroughs are warranted.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in using one, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
So they take her back to the 30s, where apparently she falls in love with Biff's dad and is now Biff's stepmother in the 80s. Oh, I forgot. I almost forgot. Where they do stop the bootlegging thing and the stuff. It's another one where Biff's family, and I was going to mention one of the universes. Biff's family is a big mob boss now in the 80s. So, and
yeah.
I forgot about that part. So, yeah, there's a lot more time travel in these games.
I do have the game on the PS4, so maybe I should play it.
Yeah, that's the first game
someday, because I do know the PS4 version is like Like, so the original release was on the PS3, I think the Wii, and then the PC.
Like for Steam or something?
I don't know about the Wii. Like, I know PS3 for sure and PC. But then they made a remaster that was released for PS4. That's when it came to Xbox, because I think there was no 360 version. And then they also released the updated version on PC. In fact, let me see what the release was like. Because I know one change the remaster made. In the original version, Biff was played by a voice actor, like a completely different actor. But then for the remaster, they got his original actor back.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this game was the first game I ever bought for my PS4. So.
Yeah, let me see. So. Oh, it was on the Wii. So the original version was on the Wii, the PS3, and the PC. And then the remaster re-release that's when it came out. It did come out for 360, but it came out the same time the PS4 and Xbox One versions did. So I'm guessing, yeah. So the episodic version was only for PS3 and the Wii, and the PC version originally.
The game ends. Doc back. Stop. And that's when the game, like a whole bunch of Marys and Docs come from the future, like a whole 50 showing up cars. Like, I'm from the future. I'm from the future. I'm from the future.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like a play off at the end of some. I think they did the same thing with a Family Guy episode.
Oh yeah. You okay?
Yeah, just asthma hacking up again.
Okay.
And that's where the game ends.
All right.
So overall, what do you guys think of the Back to the Future trilogy games and cartoon series?
I mean, they're classics. I mean, I don't know if I'd personally consider them like among my favorites, but I mean, they're nice movies to see.
Yeah, I think the series as a whole is really nostalgic to look at. Granted, I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but it's been here my whole life, and I think the premise of the movies are interesting. You know, especially like the first one, that was pretty interesting, and it's hilarious how fucking it seems like any licensed game back in that era was just gonna be shit.
With few exceptions, like the Batman game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad nowadays that licensed games are a bit better than they were, but it's not as prevalent as I would like to see with some of the series I like. And then, you know, the DeLorean is just a timeless car.
So how's your setup now from 4 years ago?
Pretty heavily evolved. Well, I run all of my setup through a capture card now, like just 24/7, so I can just pop OBS on whenever I want and record something. And I also have a switcher now, so I can just switch between consoles, which is super nice, honestly. It's so lovely. I also have a CRT set up now, like completely set up with a nice shelf and got my retro consoles next to it. I've honestly been playing a lot of retro games because of it, especially like I've been getting into F-Zero, X, and GX recently, and those games are incredibly fun.
Cool.
But
I now have a pop filter and an XR mic. XLR mic.
Yeah, I still got the old busted up junky snowball. I haven't bothered to replace this part. This is probably my least lacking part of my setup now that everything else has changed.
I think my least active setup is my current 6-year-old computer. probably 7 years old now. That's my. Which is why you can see my green screen is still green.
Gotcha.
So, but so that's just all right. I know Six doesn't do anything in his channel, but do you have anything on your channel coming up that you want to advertise to the masses?
Well, we're gonna be playing Mario Party here probably after this with me and Adam. Just do a live stream of that. You feel free to tag along too if you want. But
Called Simulink or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
If you want to go see them play the Mario Party with Mario,
Yeah.
that sounds weird. Mario Party with Mario.
Oh, I was just gonna butt in because Alma asked if any of us played Toonstruck. I have not, but I remember hearing
Never heard of it.
Maybe I could talk, Alma. Maybe I could talk to you about it after this in Discord. So,
and Saturday, which is going to be this episode, so we need to switch around. I've been talking about a history expert about the birth of England. If anybody's interested in history, go check that out next Saturday. But until then, if you don't click, it's in the chat. So click Brandon's channel, and you'll see his. And the video his live stream will be up soon thing. So in the meantime, never stop learning and enjoy the randomness. We shall see you next time.
See ya.